Hi everyone, let's look at this National 5 past paper question. So, we have got 2x squared minus 2x minus 1 equals 0. That's a quadratic equation. With quadratic equations, I can solve them by using the quadratic formula, or perhaps by factorizing, maybe using the AC method or difference of squares or common factors. Here, because the bit that follows is asking me for my answer in this form, that's really like the last step or two of the quadratic formula. So I'm going to state the quadratic formula by copying it from my formula sheet, okay? So minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, all I need to do is substitute in my values of a, b, and c. So 2x squared, so a is 2. Negative 2x, so b is negative 2. And negative 1, so c is negative 1. So let's copy this out again, but substitute in the values. So negative b, so that's negative, and then b is negative 2. Plus or minus the square root. B squared is negative 2 squared, minus 4 times a is 2, and c is negative 1. Make sure my square root goes over all of this, and make sure my divide goes over all of this. And that's 2 times a, and a was 2. Okay, so we've substituted everything in carefully. Now, in our next line, we're going to start to evaluate it and work it out. Negative 2 at the beginning is just positive 2, or 2. So plus or minus, and then I've got the square root, and then 2 times 2 on the bottom is 4. Now, I've deliberately left this bit under the square root sign because we know that this bit is the discriminant. It's quite important. And we also know that getting the value of this correct is sort of key to a question like this. So what I'm going to do is just go to the side and write out negative 2 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 1. Just copy out what's under the bracket. This is just separate. So that would be 4. Now, 4 times 2 is 8, times negative 1 is negative 8. So it's 4 subtract negative 8, which is actually 4 plus 8, so that's 12. So in here it's just 12. Now, I don't need to go to the side and do this extra bit, but it's a nice, clear, separate way. I'm not muddling in, doing lots of lines here, and I really wanted to get this value here correct, okay? Once I get this value correct, I want to split up my answer, because that's what this plus minus is. It's giving me both solutions to the equation. So if I was to split up this answer, it would be x equals 2 plus the square root of 12 all over 4, or 2 minus the square root of 12 all over 4. Now, I'm doing this because this is what we would normally do. This question is different. This is what makes it a wee bit more difficult and a bit unique, that it's asked for an answer like this, and it's just kept it together with the plus minus. But hopefully I'll show that even if we weren't sure about that or why it's done that, if we just identified quadratic formula and kept going, we can still solve it as if it had been a standard question. And then at the end, we'll go back and see, okay, why does it look a little bit different here? So already I'm at the stage where I'm thinking, oh, I'm getting a bit stuck now. This is a non-calculator question. I'd like to just type this in my calculator and work out an answer, which may be a decimal. So what do I do then if I don't have my calculator? What's happening here? Well, if we ever get somewhere with a root or a surd here, and it doesn't look quite like how I want it, then we should just think, can I simplify that surd? So again, I'm just going to go to the side. It's useful to do that. So let's take the root of 12 and think, how can it be written? 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 4 times 3. So 4 is a square number, so that's perfect. So it's root 4 root 3, which is 2 root 3. So I can simplify root 12. So in my answers here, I'll go back and say, okay, well, let's do that. 2 plus, what was it? 2 root 3 all over 4. And that is 2 minus 2 root 3 all over 4. And we can see now that this bottom of my fraction, the 4, divides by 2, and both the terms in the top also divide by 2, so I can do 4 divided by 2 is 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1, 2 divided by 2 is 1. So this solution becomes 1 plus root 3 all over 2. And my second solution, really similar, this divides by 2 to give 2, 2 divided by 2 gives 1, 2 divided by 2 gives 1. So my other solution is 1 minus root 3 all over 2. So both my solutions come from 1 plus or minus the root of 3 all over 2, which is what I was asked to show. So I can say QED, okay? So I've proven it. Now, let's go back up here and see. Yep, I've shown what I needed to, but I could have kept it together, simplified the surd at this stage, and got to here a wee bit quicker. I didn't need to separate them and bring them back together, but either way, I'm doing the same thing. I'm just solving by the quadratic formula, but when I get a surd, just simplifying the surd as much as possible.